This episode of Star Wars in a Galaxy was recorded and produced during the 2023 WGA and SAG-AFTRA strikes. Without the labor of the writers and actors currently on strike, the stories being covered here wouldn't exist. Thank you, and enjoy this episode of In a Galaxy. Hello there. Welcome back to another episode of Star Wars in a Galaxy, watching all the stars we can get our hands on. I'm Eli.
I'm Jacob.
And today we are here with episode 108. No, wait, 109 of Star Wars in a Galaxy, watching all the stars we can get our hands on. And we got a special one for you today. We got our Bad Batch retrospective, our season 14, or season 13 finale. Wow, I'm bad with numbers today. Our season 13 finale of Star Wars in a Galaxy. We're talking about the Bad Batch season 2, and we'll also talk a little bit about what's ahead. Because we're, for the first time, as we mentioned last episode, we are straying away from Star Wars animation for the first time in about 3 years. So
high time, some would say.
Yeah, absolutely, some would say. I'm excited to do this, and Jacob, do you want to start us off with your overall thoughts? Go ahead.
Okay, my overall thoughts. This is an interesting season. I was thinking about this. I often think about the overall thoughts in relation to the other seasons. I think this season 2 felt in many ways strikingly similar to season 1. I think in tone, in aesthetic, everything. I think often in Star Wars, especially really Star Wars animation, between seasons, shows feel markedly different between seasons. They feel like a big change has taken place, and this felt like much more of a subtle evolution from season 1 of ideas and developments and relationships that we were already working on from the very beginning, and now everything is just kind of falling into place more. Things are kind of starting to come to fruition, and I think we're going to have that feeling even more in season 3, where a lot of the groundwork that has kind of been building up in season 1 and the first half of season 2, we start to see more payoff of that as the stakes get higher, as the intensity gets higher, as things ratchet up. Still, I think it was a kick up in terms of overall quality and execution. There were precious few episodes that I disliked or didn't at least like. I thought overall quality wise, the season was extremely consistent. That isn't to say that I had no problems with it, with certain episodes. I definitely think that it did suffer from, at times, it did suffer from a sense of listlessness or a lack of direction during moments when we strayed away from the big picture story arcs. I think that was when the show suffers, as Star Wars animation sometimes tends to do. However, overall, I really can't complain. I thought this was a great season. Very excited for season 3. I think Bad Batch is shaping up to be a really solid season.
What an impressive season for me. What an impressive season. I call it a deeply good season of Star Wars television. I love the balance it strikes between the fun adventures, the lore connections, and of course the themes about how the Batch acts as the walls close in on them. Perfectly balances the fun episodes like Faster and Metamorphosis with the darker and more contemplative episodes like Truth and Consequences of the Outpost, and wraps everything up with a damn good season finale that somehow still isn't in my top 5 of this season. We'll get to that later, though.
That's insane that it's not in your top 5. That's absolutely insane.
Season 1, for me, 14 hits and 2 misses. Very impressive resume for me. 14 hits and 2 misses. This season, 15 hits, 1 miss.
Wow.
Upped it. Only one episode that I straight up didn't like. Nearly every episode was firing on all cylinders, at least bringing something to the table. Look, do I do I wish we got a few more hints about what's going on Mount Tantus? Sure. Do I wish Hemlock was brought in a bit sooner after Rampart left? Sure. Are there other nitpicks I can find with the season? Absolutely. But overall, this is a near perfect season of Star Wars television. This is up there for me with stuff like season 4 of Star Wars Rebels or season 5 of TCW, maybe even season 7 of TCW. I wouldn't say season 6 because season 6 is on like another god tier level. I might even throw season 6 in there too. Stuff like Mandalorian season 3. This is a top tier season of Star Wars television for me, and I have loved almost every second of it. It is a blessing that we got this year. I love this season, and I think it's, if this is where the Bad Batch is heading, count me in.
Yeah, I agree. I think
yeah,
there were it was an interesting season for me because there weren't a lot of episodes that I loved as episodes that I really loved. There were a few, but for the most part, I would say there were just moments and stretches and developments and ideas woven throughout, especially in the latter half, that I really deeply appreciated.
yeah.
And so I think as an overall body of work, as a season, as a whole season, as one story, the whole season for me is really successful. Probably more, I would probably say I like the season more than the sum of its parts, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. I'm not sure if I agree with you on there, but I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Now it's time for, I think, my favorite part of the retrospective episode, the juiciest part, our rankings.
The rankings. You want to lead us off?
I was hoping you were going to lead us off. Okay, go ahead. List yours off.
All right. So my ranking for season 2
Bottom to
of the
top.
Bad Batch: 16, Entombed; 15, Metamorphosis; 14, Spoils of War; 13, Faster; 12, Ruins of War; 11, Tribe; 10, The Solitary Clone; 9, Retrieval; 8, Pabu; 7, The Crossing; 6, The Outpost; 5, The Summit; 4, Tipping Point; 3, The Clone Conspiracy; 2, Truth and Consequences. And my favorite episode was, of course, Plan 99.
Of course. Wow.
I think it's of course. I think it's of course. Clearly you don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't blame you, but
is...
it's not in my top 5. Yeah. I'm quickly just getting yours down and let me do mine. Okay, are you ready for this?
Let's hear them.
16, Plan 99. I'm joking. That was a joke. 16, Entombed. Duh. 16, Entombed. 15, Spoils of War. 14, Ruins of War. 13, The Crossing. 12, Metamorphosis. 11, Retrieval. 10, Tribe. 9, Faster. 8, Tipping Point. 7, The Summit. 6, Plan 99. 5, The Solitary Clone. 4, The Outpost. 3, Pabu. 2, Truth and Consequences. 1, The Clone Conspiracy. There's some interesting stuff in here, but yeah, there's so many interesting ones. And Jacob and I usually like to spend this time talking about disparities on our list. There aren't a whole ton of disparities. There are a few like minor ones, but there aren't a lot of major ones, honestly.
There are no glaring ones.
There are no glaring ones. There's ones that are like, there's no like, this is at the top of one person's list and the bottom of the other person's list. This is at the bottom of one person's list and near the bottom of another person's list, and vice versa. But like we both have the same number 2. We both have the same one last. We have Spoils of War and Tribe and The Outpost and Clone Conspiracy at comparable places.
We do,
yeah. Let's talk about The Solitary Clone. Why not? Because that one's one that stood out to me immediately. I have it at 5. You have it at 10.
Yeah. So what do
Which
you think about this episode? What appeals to you about it?
I and on further, like, I might even want to switch it with the Outpost. I might even want to put it at 4, honestly, because it's just such a fantastic. I love the Planet of Desix and Tawny Ames, and I love Crosshair and Cody working together in that new environment. And I love the, like, again, it clues in Crosshair to this idea that he will later expand upon the Outpost, which, not any slouch of an episode itself. Fantastic. Why have it in my top 5? That maybe the Empire doesn't care about him after all. And I think that
Yeah,
the trials and tribulations he goes through in this episode to start figuring that out are just fantastic.
fair enough. Yeah, I didn't dislike this episode. I think I just ranked it at 10 because there were plenty of episodes that I simply enjoyed them more. As cool as this episode was, I simply enjoyed others more.
Yeah, I think that's honestly a
Really
lot
no
of
other reason
my
for it.
my list this season. It's that it's like I didn't hate Metamorphosis. I loved Metamorphosis. I just liked the 11 episodes better than it.
Yeah, fair enough. I
That's
mean,
what that's how I feel about all 15 of the top ones. Is I don't hate them. I just like others more than.
how about Pabu? Because you have Pabu at 3 and I have Pabu at one, two, three.
Yeah. Well, you've heard me
I have
talk
Pabu
about
at
Pabu.
8.
You've heard me
Yeah,
talk about
I
Pabu, the
like Pabu.
hauntingness of the episode, the
Yeah.
distillation of that moment in time.
Yeah.
It's an episode that will stick with me for a long time because we really haven't seen any other episode like it. And I don't think we will for a long time.
Yeah. Now I think as far as ideas go, Pabu has some amazing themes and ideas. And it's a very, thought-provoking episode. We had a great discussion about Pabu. That being said, I think the actual conflict of the episode itself, the title of that whole thing, I just didn't find that compelling at all. So that kind of balanced it out, pulling it further down the list.
Yeah, I understand that.
Now, how about, let's see, what else do we have?
I guess we can talk about
I
the
have down
crossing
low.
too. Let's talk about the
Let's talk
crossing.
about the crossing because I have the crossing higher, actually.
Seven,
I have it at 7. You have it
you,
at
13.
11, 13. So
Yeah.
for me, I really like the crossing because it's one of those emotional episodes. It's just, to me, it's a feel good episode. It's one of the first episodes that comes to mind when I think about this season, when I think about Omega, what she's going through, how she's growing and fleshing out as a character. All of that kind of, for me, all of that comes to mind with the crossing. I think it's a fantastic episode. I think it's a pretty good, the actual kind of the A plot is it's all right, it's a good backdrop, but it's really all about the characters and what they're going through and it has and kind of it's all and of course it's all about Omega coping with Echo not being a part of the group anymore, at least not being with them. And I love how they end up making a little bit of a parable about neurodivergence and neurodiversity as well. I thought that was really sweet. I just thought there was a lot to love. This certainly wasn't, I think, as an episode, this wasn't an episode that was really reaching for the stars, wasn't the most ambitious episode, but there's just a lot to love about it. And it's just a feel good episode. So I'm a big fan of it for that reason.
I completely understand and I completely agree with a lot of that, honestly. I just want to watch Godzilla, Space Godzilla. That's what it is. I want to watch
So
Space
you
Godzilla. I want to watch Space Godzilla. I want to watch Wookiee Jedi on Kashyyyk. I want to watch pod racing, but 50% more dangerous. It's nothing about the episode's quality in and of itself. I think it's an important episode. I think it is the episode we needed right after the weighty reveal of truth and consequences and all that stuff that happened in those last 2 episodes. But and I think it has that really important moment. But I do think it takes a little too long to get to that moment. That's my thing. Is like the stuff before they get trapped in the cave. Like that stampede was like kind of there to be there for me. And like the stuff about the FCM, while cool, is just kind of there. Again, it redeems itself 100% with those amazing character moments with Omega and Tech and the rest of the batch. But I want to watch Space Godzilla, Jacob.
fair enough. Fair. Fair enough. I did not. I thought Space Godzilla Metamorphosis for me. The only reason that's not my least favorite episode is because Entombed exists, but
Yeah,
I didn't like the action in that one either. I did not find it
yeah.
particularly compelling. Although again,
It's
there was a lot to love about
yeah,
that
it's
episode.
number 12. It's not as high as I thought it was going to be on my list, but I remember specifically, I just like, I don't know, just goofy shit like that, like them battling Space Godzilla. It's just fun, and I like when Star Wars is fun. I like
Yeah,
what
fair enough.
specifically when a dark show like this doesn't forget with episodes like Faster and Metamorphosis that it is at its core, that Star Wars at its core is fun.
That's very true. That's
Um,
very true. I can't disagree with that.
yeah, and I'm surprised that actually that you have the socialism episode higher than I do, but that's funny.
Yeah. No, I thought it was a
uh,
good episode. I liked
it's a
it.
fantastic episode. There's nothing wrong with it. I just yeah, it's just the top 10 outrank it for me. Yeah.
Okay, I have to ask now, why is Plan 99 not number one for you? Because for me, that was, from my perspective, it was the clear number one, not only because of Tech's death and Omega and her coping and everything, but the entire episode, just that post
Well,
impact time. I think they do so much
the
with that.
the clone conspiracy and truth and consequences duology had to be the number one and number two for me. I remember just
Mm.
staring at my computer screen after I watched those two episodes, and we'll talk about this more later when we get to best episode and all that kind of stuff. I remember staring at my computer screen, just going, "What the fuck just happened?" You know, in a dumbfounded way that I hadn't been in Star Wars for quite a while.
Can't argue with
Um,
that.
and then we have Pabu, which you know my thing about Pabu is the distillation of the moment in time. And then we have the Crosshair episodes. Plan 99, it's not that it's bad. The Summit Plan 99 are fantastic episodes. Plan 99 hurts though. Like Plan 99 really
Plan 99
hurts.
does hurt.
Like it's a great episode, but it fucking hurts. And there are just some things like it like for the emotional stuff, it's one of the best episodes of Star Wars television I've ever seen. But like there's some like action stuff and there's some like symbolism stuff I just like better in some of the other episodes. It's not that again, it's not that I hate it. It's just like I like the other ones better. This is comparing gold to diamonds. Let's talk about the best episode. Go ahead, make your pitch. Why you think
Best episode. I mean,
Plan 99?
It's got to be Plan 99, right? I think Plan 99 is just, it's so amazing. I think the way, not only how tragic and heartbreaking and memorable Tech's death and send off is, but then after that with Omega, the way they handled that, the way they show Omega coping with that, working through that is really, really astute and poignant and powerful. And I think it really shows that this show is operating at a pretty high level with the ideas, even though it is a kid show, with the ideas that it's tackling. It feels like it's operating at quite a high level. And I just think the episode's phenomenal. You know, I think we really get to see, you know, what the rest of the batch, we really see what they're made of here. I finally have like, at least as much as I hate Sid, at least now the batch is kind of also on the page of okay, fuck you, Sid. You know, this episode's just got everything. I think it's just a knockout for me. I couldn't put anything else above it. As much as I absolutely love Truth and Consequences and Clone Conspiracy and Tipping Point, for me it just has to be Plan 99. It's too, that's the one that just like is seared into my mind the most.
I totally get that. I totally get that. The Clone Conspiracy was my favorite episode of this season. My favorite episode of The Bad Batch so far, and my favorite full length episode of Star Wars television since Part 6 of Obi-Wan Kenobi in June of 2022. A tense, mysterious, and inviting thriller that brought back an amazing character in Ryo Chuchi, gave us hints of a rebel network being run by Captain Rex, gave Rampart more to do than in most of the first season, and horrified me with so many questions about the enigmatic Clone X and his Imperial suicide device we're seeing The Mandalorian. Had me hooked from start to finish. And although the second part of the episode is fantastic, the clone conspiracy edges it out oh so slightly because of the great thriller noir vibes and feel that Nathaniel Villanueva infuses throughout the episode.
Fair enough. I mean, it's a fantastic episode.
Yeah, and I know you have it at number 3, and like
But it's a good,
yeah,
it's a great episode.
It's just it was the only one between my initial, it was the only one I went back and rewatched in between my initial viewing and now the rewatch for IAG because of how good it is. All right, let's talk both about our worst episode. Let's get this over with. Let's get this over with. Obviously, neither of us liked Entombed that much. I was more confused than interested by it. It just kind of didn't do anything for me. Whatever. It was the one miss in a season full of hits. Whatever. Anything more you got to say, or is that really it for you?
Entombed, again, just what is this episode here for? What is it supposed to do? What does it accomplish? I have no idea. End of story. I just don't care for it.
Yeah, I don't get it. I just don't get it. Oh well. Again, not all of them can be winners. Best character, go ahead, Jacob.
Man, I can't even pick. I thought Omega was obviously fantastic. Star of the show. I mean, come on. She was pretty amazing in this season and the growth that she showed, and Michelle Ong did an amazing job. Really a standout performance. Crosshair as well comes to mind. Crosshair, I think we really see him in a different light in this season, and he's one of those characters that it snuck up on me, but I was watching these last episodes today, and it was really pulling on my heartstrings. I was like, man, I really feel for this guy. Tech as well, obviously, enough said. Fee, I really didn't like Fee after Entombed. I thought that what she did with Omega was really uncool. However, I think she more than made up for it, and I really hope we see more of her. And of course, Hemlock, such a fun villain, such an exciting villain, such an exciting character.
Yeah, I went with I went with Omega. Again, I went with her in season 1, and I went with her here. The Michelle Ong knocks it out of the park every single time with this character, and I didn't expect I still love her exactly as much as I loved her when season 1 came out, like when Aftermath came out. She's the joy is still there, the naivete, but sheer altruism in there is still there. I love her so much. I know I wrote in my overall review of the Bad Batch, I know this was Tech's season. I wanted to pick somebody other than Tech, so I picked Omega. And I still pick Omega. God, Michelle Ang's so good. She's so fantastic. Worst characters. And not worst in terms of morality, because I think we both would know who to say in terms of that one.
I just put Sid, because fuck Sid or in scale back.
Yeah, fuck her. I said I had a really hard time with this one, but do we still have to be following Nala Se? I'm so bored by her. She made her interesting decisions in season 1, and then her species and homeworld were destroyed. She cares about Omega because she does. I hope they give her something next season, because I still don't really know what her motivations are. I know she doesn't want to work for the Empire because they destroyed her planet. Understandable. And she cares for Omega because reasons.
You know who else? Teo.
Who?
I like Teo. Teo was chill.
Oh, I thought you were about to say I hate Teo. I'm like, no, you do not touch Teo. You do not touch Teo. Don't say anything about him on my man Teo. Don't say anything about Teo. Yeah. So then I guess is the time to ask you, what is the coolest new thing you've noticed from the rewatch?
Coolest new thing. I had trouble coming up with something specific, but I will say overall, it really just hit me how much the Bad Batch season 2 really dives into a lot of big questions and big ideas in really interesting ways. It questions a lot of Star Wars's assumptions and Star Wars's paradigm, about struggle, about fighting, and really examines that in a way that we kind of haven't seen a lot before. Some of the ideas about, why people choose to fight, what that looks like, what are really the costs and the consequences, that kind of gets taken for granted sometimes. And I like that they pull back and take a wider look at it.
I went in the complete opposite direction. Well, first of all, I said, man, Pabu is such a unique and interesting episode. I had to throw that in there again. But I also, but my real answer is, damn, the lore character pulls in this season are damn impressive. In one season, Gunji, Orson Krennic, Garnak, Ryo Chuchi, Tinra Pamlo, and Commander Cody, all one season. Like, if it was the writers, good job for knowing your Star Wars. I assume the story group helped a little bit out in there. They should be getting like paid overtime for having Garnak and Gunji and Cody and Pamlo and Coburn all in the same season. Like that's damn fantastic. Good job for the lore stuff and making it make sense and all that kind of stuff. Like hell yeah.
Yeah. What else?
Favorite planet? Go ahead.
Favorite planet? Pabu. It's gotta be Pabu.
Interesting. I actually didn't go for Pabu.
Really?
Yeah, I did not go for Pabu. I went for Saralonis.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why? How come?
I just want to see more of Saralonis and Safatoma, and I want to see more Riot Racing. I'm hoping maybe Outlaws. Outlaws. Hey, I swear to God. So we're recording this a few days before San Diego Comic-Con, where we're gonna get an extra glimpse of a new glimpse of Outlaws. If we see Safatoma slash Saralonis in
I'll lose my mind.
Outlaws, I will
That'd be
release
so
this
funny.
specific clip early saying that we fucking called it.
Fair enough.
We almost certainly will not have fucking called it, but just imagine if we did. Just imagine if we did. I want Riot Racing and Outlaws. I want Kay Vest to be going there. I want her to be Riot Racing. I hope Nyx gets involved too. Hell yeah. Yeah. But Pablo was a close second for me, but I just didn't want to. I just wanted to pick a more less stereotypically me answer. What's coming next on Star Wars in a Galaxy is something I think we're both very excited about. Next episode, we're going to be doing some sort of special episode. We'll figure it out. By the time this episode is out, we will have figured it out, I'm sure.
Yes.
It is how we normally figure out special episodes on Star Wars in a Galaxy, is by the time the episode's out, we probably know. But let's talk about what's coming next, season 14 of Star Wars in a Galaxy, which is probably going to take us late summer, probably a little bit into early fall too. Jacob, you
Jedi.
ready?
Fallen Order.
Yep.
It's happening.
Jedi Order has fallen. We're jumping 4 years ahead in time from 18 BBY to 14 BBY. Empire's reigning over the galaxy. We'll see stormtroopers. We'll see TIE fighters in their main state. We're going to take a look through the cutscenes of Jedi Fallen Order. I have a cutscene. We have a cutscene montage from our friends over at Gamers Little Playground. We don't actually know them, but they have these great cutscene montages that they provide over on YouTube that we go to. I believe the montage specifically for Fallen Order is around 6 hours. So I think we're going to do it around 40 minutes at a time. So it should take us like a good 7 or 8 episodes to do the whole thing. And I'll just say this. Not the first episode for Fallen Order. The second episode for Fallen Order. The second episode of our Fallen Order coverage from the 40-minute mark to the hour 20-minute mark, or the 80-minute mark. we will be joined by not one, but two guests. We will be joined by the Jedi Fallen Order stand, the Jedi Fallen Order guy, who is a good friend of the show, good friend of mine, co-writer, co-host on Epic Confrontations, Connor Chikiti of the Nerd Academy podcast. I'm so excited to have Connor back on. I know he's such a big fan of Cal and Seer and all of those characters. I'm excited about that one. And the second one is also so exciting. He's the guy who got me into the idea that I could make Star Wars stuff, that I can review Star Wars, that I can make Star Wars stuff. And that is Mr. Alex Damon. So Jacob, myself, Connor, and Alex are going to be talking about Jedi Fallen Order. And that is an episode that's coming probably in the month of August. And we're all very excited about that one. That's going to be a hard-hitting episode, and we're so excited for Jedi Fallen Order Season 14 of Star Wars and Galaxy. But in the meantime, you can follow us at NL Galaxy Pod everywhere, Twitter, Threads, Instagram, wherever on all the social medias. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcast, we'll be there. If we're not, email us, swndgalaxy@gmail.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel where we post epic confrontations and other live streams. And I think until next time, may the Force be with you.
Always.
Always.